Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. We'll talk about this in a minute, but lots to get into in the show tonight. It's Friday night Q&A, but Ten Hag wants 3 more Dutch players to bring to his Manchester United revolution. The main key story being from a journalist in Germany saying that Jeremy Frimpong of Leverkusen is high on the list at right back. I really do like this player, so we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about the other 2 players that feature on Erik ten Hag's Dutch hit list, as well as a little look ahead to Chelsea tomorrow and how it's not just Chelsea versus Manchester United tomorrow, it's actually 2 very similar clubs in very similar situations. Where will they go over the future months and why it might be a problem for Ten Hag. Also a little bit about Ronaldo, but mainly I want to talk about Friday night Q&A. That's what I want to talk about tonight. I want to get involved in that. So get your questions in a little bit later or even now. We'll go through them all. But first of all, I just want to say you might have noticed something. It's not Christmas, but I am wearing a Christmas jumper. I did say that I would have a little bit of a merch drop for you tonight. And I can tell you for free that our brand new first ever, we do fantastic Christmas jumpers for you, but we've got a brand new Christmas jumper out. I'm modelling it here tonight. It's knitted. This is a knitted Christmas jumper. It's our very first Christmas knitted jumper. It's available for pre-order now. The link is in the video description or it's in the live chat. United Stand Shopify, you'll find it. You can pre-order these now for worldwide shipping. As you can see, it's gone with the 20 theme. I've got a number 20 on my back, which you should probably see there. I've got the GOAT managers on my arms. It says 20 times on there, and it's got all 20 league titles, even the old style league that we won there. It will be a Christmas banger at any family do, Christmas party. This is going to stand out. So if you want to get hold of one, pre-order them now. Links in the description or the live chat. We've only done a limited run because it's knitted, so we had to put the order in before, and we don't know how many are going to go. So it's a pre-order. And once they're gone, they're gone. So if you want to get yourself one, we do ship worldwide. Links in the description. Get on it. They are cracking. They're absolutely brilliant. They're the best Christmas jumper we've ever done. And like I say, it's knitted and I can't start touching it. Hi from my holiday in Turkey. Keep up the good work, says Steve. He's on holiday in Turkey and I'm talking about Christmas jumpers. It must be a sign. Thank you. It's a bit of a Christmas show. But look, let's get on with the show. Frimpong would be a great addition. He's a quality right back with great potential, says Adam MUFC. I want to talk about this story. So it's coming in from Plettigol, who is a German-based journalist. Obviously, Bayer Leverkusen are in Germany. Manchester United need a right back. Frimpong is a player that many of you have liked and mentioned before. I don't really like speculation stories about players that would be good to sign because I've had my fingers burnt with people like Lozano and Fabinho in the past who I said we should get. We don't get them, especially Fabinho. But we have actually solidly been linked to Frimpong now that he is on the radar for Manchester United at right back. We know that Erik ten Hag wants a right back, and the fact that Frimpong is being mentioned from a decent German source is quite encouraging. Mark, my name is Frimpong as well. He's good, says T-Guy. So who is Jeremy Frimpong and what's he all about? Well, he's 21 years of age. He plays for Bayer Leverkusen. He went there from Celtic and he was formerly a youth player at Manchester City. He is Dutch. He is Dutch. Not a lot of people realise that. I mean, unless you really know who he is. He is Dutch. 21 years of age. What's he all about as a player? I nearly said he's liquid fast. He's lightning fast. He's tremendous at carrying the ball. He can dribble and progressive runs. And as you know, a progressive run is when you've got the ball and you carry the ball a distance. So dribbling is when you dribble past somebody, which he can do. Progressive runs are when you've got the ball. It's not a sprint. It's when you've got the ball and you carry the ball. So 20 metres in front of you, you sprint into it with the ball. He's brilliant at that. He's very fast. He's very good going forward. He's developed aspects to his game. Recovery pace is fantastic. He does still need to work on his delivery and his defensive side of the game, but they've improved massively over the last 18 months anyway. And I think he's absolutely primed to go to a big club at some point in the next 18 months. So he's exactly the sort of player that we would like at Manchester United. And he's exactly the sort of player that Erik ten Hag, I think, would like as well. Especially when you consider that we were linked to Dumfries. I think that Frimpong is basically the next sort of Dumfries, a lot younger, who could be better. So look, it's a very interesting player profile to be linked to Manchester United. The kickback is that there will be some major competition for Dumfries. For Frimpong. Real Madrid have been mentioned in relation to him and a few other clubs as well. But the Dutch connection with Ten Hag, the fact that Manchester United need a right back, and in no way do I want to disrespect Dalot here, by the way. I mean, look, Frimpong would be a very exciting signing, but would he fit Manchester United? I thought this straight away, and Thomas Dainton makes a great point. Would Frimpong fit Manchester United? Because, yeah, he's a really, really good signing, but he probably cost a bit of money. His contract doesn't run out till 2025. I think Leverkusen might want 30, 40 million pound for him. And as Brian says, Frimpong, what a player. He is a good player, but he would cost a lot of money, and we've got Dalot. So I don't know. It's an interesting one because we do need to sign a right back, but what profile of right back do you go for? And I leave that question open. Do you go for a 40, 50 million pound right back again, like we did with Wan-Bissaka, which is maybe what Frimpong would cost, and then you've got to pick them? Or do you go for somebody that's going to be more of an understudy development player? I mean, Malacia for me is perfect. Like, he's young, he's coming in from the Dutch league, he's still a bit rusty, he's still a bit raw. You put him next to the senior left back in Luke Shaw and you let them sort of battle it out. Dalot is young himself, still developmental. So maybe you go for a more experienced right back in Dumfries? I don't know. It's an interesting one. But look, there's no doubt that Frimpong's very, very good. And I think he would suit Manchester United. He can play a number of positions as well. I mean, I don't know how well he does this, but somebody said to me tonight he actually can play in numerous other positions. He can play centre-back and left-back. I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, those sort of players are worth their weight in gold. But there's no doubt he's a very talented player. And I mean, look, do I think we're going to sign him? Way too early to say that. Do I think that we're looking at him? I would say so, yeah. I would say so, definitely. So, yeah, look, interesting player, and let's see what happens with him. Charlie says, could we not swap him with Wan-Bissaka? Wan-Bissaka's back in training now. I don't know whether anybody noticed that. I missed it from the press conference. I don't think it was said in the press conference, but Ten Hag has confirmed that Wan-Bissaka is back in training now. I think this is really important. Whatever Wan-Bissaka's future is, I would rather play Wan-Bissaka than Brandon Williams. And that's nothing against Brandon Williams, but Brandon Williams seems to think he's a left back anyway. So, we need a right back to cover Dalot. So, Wan-Bissaka being back for me, Wan-Bissaka's never going to be our first choice right back, I don't think. But he's certainly a right back that you can play on a Thursday night and give Dalot a rest. So I'm pleased that Wan-Bissaka's back. If Frimpong wants 1 million a week, Ten Hag better give it him. Best young right back in the world, says the Ainley. Well, it's fantastic to see a lot of people positively speaking about Frimpong. And, I do notice the chat. And I know that you've mentioned Frimpong a lot. So it's a bit of a good news story, isn't it? Marcus isn't a 9 and he's better on the left. So wouldn't it be better to get Jonathan David or Gakpo in? That sense is similar to Rashford, says Daniel Kirk. Interesting point there. Just to let you know, there is a bit of a poll that's been running for people who were here early. Would you keep Ronaldo at United? 33% yes, 67% no. I mean, that's still a little bit higher on the yeses than I thought it would be. So thanks everyone who was voting in that. It was just for people a little bit early. Could you say Derry City are winning the cup, says CJ? I've just said it, CJ. So we'll have to see what happens with Frimpong, but I do think that he's a very interesting profile of right back. And my only reservation about it would be there are 20 trophies here as well. I don't know whether anyone wants to quickly count them. There are 20 trophies on here, so it's a 20 times. It's got a 20 on the back, but there are 20 trophies there. And these trophies here are the old style First Division, of which there are 1, 2, 3, 7, because we won 13 Premier Leagues. Nice shirt, Mark, says LBS. If you want to get one of these knitted Christmas jumpers, get on the link in the description or the video description. They are shipping at the end of the month. They are pre-orders, and when they're gone, they're gone. And they are fantastic knitted Christmas jumpers. You'll stand out. Anyway, let's get on with the show. So Frimpong, very interested to see what's going to happen with him. It's nice that we've been linked to him, certainly. Just pre-ordered the sweater. I really hope Ronaldo can stay and score goals, says Joseph. Things are getting out of hand with Ronaldo. Eric Ten Hag says Ronaldo is still missed, says Joseph. I like how Mark doesn't judge a player on skin colour, says Emil. Do people judge players on skin colour? I hope not. That would be racist. I feel sorry for Ronaldo. He could have been still breaking records at City and winning trophies, but he is benched for his loyalty at United. I don't really want to talk about Ronaldo massively, Ahmad, but you have done a super chat there. I want to talk about the other Dutch players that we're targeting. We've spoken about Frimpong there, but I do just want to say that I read something on Twitter today from @Malachians, Phil Brown, made a fantastic point. And he said that when Roy Keane left Manchester United, it was quite bad. Roy Keane did a video slagging off the players on MUTV, and we terminated his contract. What do people think about Roy Keane now? They think he's a legend. David Beckham left, Van Nistelrooy left. You know, people have left in the past in bad ways, and they are legends now. And what Phil was saying, and it was quite, you know, spot on really. He said that the future will be kind to Ronaldo as a legend of Manchester United. What United need to do now is resolve this quickly so people can bury it, move on, and then in the future we'll look back on Ronaldo as the legend he is. And he's absolutely spot on. It's very raw at the moment, and the club need to act responsibly. If Ronaldo wants to go and Ten Hag wants him to go, let's terminate the contract, let's get it done, and let's move on, because time will be kind on Ronaldo because he is a legend. But we don't need it to rumble on. We don't. And it's true. And he's absolutely spot on. I remember when Roy Keane left, and it was horrible. It was horrible. I didn't agree with it because I loved Roy Keane, but it was a horrible situation. Sir Alex Ferguson was fuming with him. Sir Roy Keane ended up fuming with him. It was a horrible way for a great career to end. But time is kind on those things because you look back on the good times. So look, I think that was a great point. Evening all, love the jumper, Mark. Merry Christmas. Says Sam. Don't forget to get yours on the pre-order. Anyway, let me carry on. So we've spoken about Frimpong. There are 2 other players to update on. I mean, do you think you get to a point where you have too many Dutch players? I mean, what we've got at the moment, I don't think we've got many Dutch players, have we? Van der Beek's Dutch. Malacia is Dutch. Who else is Dutch at Man United? Is that it? Anthony's Brazilian, Eriksen's Danish, and Martinez is obviously Argentinian. Yeah, so we've only got 2 Dutch players, so Frimpong's fine. I mean, I don't mind how many Dutch players we have, to be fair, but the 3 players we're talking about tonight. So Frimpong's the first one. We've given you the update on that. The second player is Gakpo. Ruud van Nistelrooy has been speaking about Gakpo. Obviously, Ruud van Nistelrooy is the PSV manager, and he said that it's not just Premier League clubs that are looking at Gakpo. His stats and form this year has been fantastic, and obviously there's going to be a lot of interest in him. I don't know whether we're going to get Gakpo or not. I don't know whether we're going to get hold of Gakpo. Frimpong is Ghanaian, says Andy. So why has he played for Netherlands then? We had this argument the other day. I mean, look, I'm sure, like, look, I can only go off on what country they're playing for. I don't go checking their passports or anything like that. He's played for Netherlands under 21s, hasn't he? I think he's been called up for the national team. So, yeah. Anyway, so Gakpo. Van Nistelrooy's been talking about Gakpo, said there's a lot of interest in him. I do wonder if that's a deal we can do. Yes, it is. We tried to do it in the summer. Gakpo was looking to come to United and we didn't do the deal. We should have done the deal. We could have got Gakpo for 35 million in the summer. He's getting better by the game. Who knows what he'll go for in January. But I've got to say, if we ever have an angle here, we've got 2. Gakpo wants to come to United and Ten Hag wants him. That's a big pull. Ruud van Nistelrooy used to play for Manchester United. So you would hope that Van Nistelrooy would say to Gakpo, go to Man United, and you would hope we've got an in there. I think the relationship with Van Nistelrooy is good. I know he left Manchester United in bad circumstances, but I think Van Nistelrooy to Manchester United is one of the most, you know, loyal. I just think it's amazing what happened. Basically, Van Nistelrooy was a player that Sir Alex wanted. He got a really bad knee injury, and Sir Alex basically said to him, don't worry, don't stress, get yourself recovered, and I'll still bring you to Man United. And he did. So, you know, with those sort of things, you do wonder what that does for a player and what it does for his affection for a club. And Van Nistelrooy being PSV manager could be a real angle there. So let's wait and see what happens. But I think Gakpo would be a very intelligent signing for Man United. And I know what the previous comment said about should we go for a more out-and-out number 9 than Gakpo. But I don't necessarily agree with that. I think the fact that Gakpo can play off the left and up front is actually an advantage. Like Rashford at the moment, you know, if Rashford was only a left winger, we've got no striker because Martial's injured and Ronaldo's suspended. So you could play Rashford off the left and Gakpo up front. You could play Gakpo off the left and play Martial up front. So I quite like the fact that Gakpo can play a couple of positions, and I think he's the perfect sort of signing to come to Manchester United, and I think Manchester United is the perfect place for him to come. So let's wait and see if we do it. Is Ronaldo really training with the under-21s, says Rogine, apparently, and the Ainley, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. And then the third player that we've been linked to is Dutch. Kimmich would be amazing at United, says Alexander. You know what? I think Kimmich would be a great signing, but I actually don't anymore. For the first time in ages, I don't think we need a CDM anymore because we've got Casemiro. Atibar says, also remember that Gakpo and Ten Hag have the same agent. Good point. Well done. So Prosper says he can't hear me. Hit the unmute button. Michael says, I don't think Gakpo's that great. Sancho would be surplus to demand if we got Gakpo, says Leo. Not really. Not if Gakpo plays through the middle. And thoughts on Zaha? Contract finishes in the summer. He would never come back to United, Gigi. He would never come back to United, Zaha. It was a bloody nightmare for him the first time. I wish it hadn't been. I think he's a good player, but it was. And then the third player we've been linked to, Rob Dawson in ESPN has been talking about Manchester United would be still interested in De Jong. They don't really have the money, but they would have to move things around financially. Of course, Man United are interested in De Jong. Ten Hag wanted De Jong as his number one summer signing. So you're not going to suddenly go, you're not interested. But that deal really needs to be forgotten about. I mean, I don't know whether you've been monitoring the De Jong position. He started the season on the bench. He's not really been playing. Barcelona's form has been a bit up and down. De Jong's basically re-established himself as a starter now. So, you know, he's played the long game and now he's an important player for Xavi. So, De Jong, Man United, I really... Look, I'd never say never in football because you just don't know. I never thought we would have got Casemiro and we did. So, I can't sit here and say we're not going to sign Frankie De Jong and that stories linking us to him are not credible. But really, we need to move on from that deal. We looked very desperate in the summer. We don't need to keep looking desperate as far as I'm concerned. I think it's a deal that I would be opposed to be honest. But yeah, I'm not opposed to Manchester United signing De Jong. I'm just a little bit bored of Manchester United potentially signing De Jong. So yeah. Just a little bit more about Man United and Ten Hag there. Somebody was just talking about it. Oh God, I just read something on Twitter there and I shit myself. I read it as Martinez, and it's a quote from Ten Hag, and I read it as Martinez. Martinez, he was on the training ground, but he's not available for tomorrow. We have to see how it develops in the next few days. It's not Martinez, that's Martial. That's an update from Ten Hag. Martial has been on the training ground, but he's not available tomorrow. We'll see how it develops over the next few days. So Martial should probably be back pretty soon next week, I would think. So that's quite interesting. So yeah, 3 Dutch players we've been linked to there. De Jong better win the Man United the World Cup, says Mang. And Bayer Leverkusen is in the relegation battle. It could be quite cheap to buy Frimpong, says Agam. Yeah, be interesting. Interesting to see. Looking fresh, Mark, says Ty. Thank you very much. I want to get into the Q&A because it's a Friday night and that's what Friday night's all about. But I've got one more thing I want to bring into the show and then I'm going to delve into what you want to talk about. So we're playing Chelsea tomorrow night. I just wanted to mention this because I think it's gone a little bit quiet on the whole Glazer stuff because of all the Ronaldo stuff. But there's a few things from the week that I think it's really important to just mention. De Jong was 65 million in the summer. That would be what would be now after Barcelona pulling all their levers, says Ray. So there's a few things from the week that I think if the Ronaldo thing hadn't happened would have really boosted the Glazer out movement. The first thing was that Murta has again said that they don't want to spend money in January, which is ridiculous. And then the second thing is that Manchester United don't expect to start any work on Old Trafford for 2 years. They're going to take 2 years to do some consultancy work about what the best options are. 2 years to find out what is the best option to do at United. It's just buying time to take dividends and milk the club, really. And can I just say this, and I will say this, and you can clip it if you want. It's up to you. Is it not a coincidence that Manchester United are going to take 2 years to consult and find out what the best angle is to rebuild or renovate Old Trafford? So Man United are going to take 2 years to put their plans in place to see if they want to do anything with Old Trafford. And yet 2 days ago, the guy who's the new chief executive for the new Super League has said that the earliest they think they can get the Super League in is in 2 years. Whoa, what a surprise. Sometimes the truth is out there, isn't it? So the Glazers don't want to spend anything on the stadium for 2 years, and then you've got the Super League talking about the earliest we think we can get it in is in 2 years. If that Super League comes in, we're never getting rid of the Glazers because they've got all the money in the world. It is no coincidence that the Glazers are buying time not to build the stadium to see what happens with the Super League, because that's their golden ticket. They are desperate for the Golden League. They are desperate for the Super League to happen so that they can get the money that they want. And they probably will build a new stadium there because they'll be making billions. So, we do need a new stadium, Melps, and we need it very, very quickly. But it's not a coincidence that the Super League is back on the agenda in the next 2 or 3 years. And United are saying publicly they don't expect anything to happen with the stadium for at least 2 years. 2 years! Absolute joke. David, thank you very much. But this brings me to my next point, and I wanted to get your opinions on this. So, United play Chelsea tomorrow. Very excited about this game. Two very similar clubs. We're not Man City and we're not Liverpool. We're Chelsea and we're Manchester United. We've got two really exciting managers, Graham Potter, Erik ten Hag, really innovative, exciting managers being given opportunities at big clubs. So there's a lot of similarity there. And although we play each other tomorrow, that might be a case of who won the battle, but who will win the war. Who will win the longer game and who will win the shorter game? Well, the shorter game's tomorrow. The short-term win is tomorrow, whoever wins that. Who will win the long term? Who will be more successful in the long term? Potter and Chelsea or Manchester United and Ten Hag? Well, I think Ten Hag is here for the long term. And I think United always want a manager that's here for the long term because it's cheaper. At Chelsea, they will sack a manager very quickly if it doesn't work under Abramovich, but they've got a new owner now. But I was asked this question, so I thought I'd bring it into United Stand tonight. My honest answer is, if you're asking me who will be more successful in the long term, and I'm going to do a poll on this, I think it'll be interesting, Potter or Ten Hag, who will be more successful? And we'll go Ten Hag or Potter. My absolute, honest and first answer, and it hasn't changed in the last 3 hours since I was asked it, is Potter. Potter will be more successful at Chelsea than Manchester United will be with Ten Hag. And it's not because Ten Hag's a worse manager. He may well be a better manager. I think he probably is. But Potter will be given the resources and the backing to be successful. Ten Hag, I don't believe, will, under the Glazers. And I think in the modern game, it's not just about how good a coach you are, you do need to be given those resources. So I think when I look at it, I think Chelsea's aggression in the summer transfer window and their plans in the January transfer window will dwarf United's ambition very, very quickly. I mean, they're looking at bringing Nkunku in January. They're looking at Vardiel coming in already in the summer. And they're looking at 3 or 4 other players. United won't be on that page. And yeah, we spent £200 million in the summer, I know that. But I think that Chelsea's ambition to be a football club outstrips the Glazers' ambition to be a football club. So yeah, I think there's an interesting battle there between Potter and Ten Hag. But I'd liken it to this. I think Graham Potter has got both hands out and can throw punches with both arms. I think Ten Hag at United, like Mourinho before him and Ollie and everybody else, you're always fighting with one arm tied behind your back. So it's going to be really interesting. I think tomorrow we're going to win. I'm confident we're going to win. I think that defence will deliver a clean sheet and we will deliver a goal and we will win that game. A goal or two. I'm going to go 2-0. But longer term, I think Chelsea have got more chance of success because ultimately I really do think it comes down to the ownership and not the manager. Which is a shame. Funnily enough, in the chat, who will be more successful? 72% of you are saying Ten Hag. I'd love to know why you think that. I like it. I do like it. But why do you think that Ten Hag is going to be more successful at United than Potter when Potter's going to get way more backing? Why do you think that? Because look at over the last 10 years. Chelsea have won the Premier League. They've won the Champions League. They've won the FA Cup. Man United haven't won the Premier League or the Champions League in 10 years. So is that not a sign that, money spent well brings you more success? It'll be very interesting. Nitil says, very, very true. In fact, if Erik ten Hag fails, Glazers will make him the next scapegoat. And James says, bit early for a Christmas jumper. It is a bit early for a Christmas jumper, but our Christmas jumpers need to be pre-ordered, and Christmas will come very, very quickly. So if you want to get hold of one of these, get your pre-orders in now. It's our first ever knitted Christmas jumper. It's absolutely fantastic, and you can get your pre-orders in now. We do ship worldwide, and they'll be dropping for you in the first 2 weeks of November. So get involved with that through the chat or the video description. G-Man says Ten Hag is the better manager, and I think that's what people are voting on. And I do think that Ten Hag is a better manager than Potter. I do believe that 100%. Just look at his Champions League record. But I do think that I might be wrong on this, and I hope I'm wrong on this, but I really do believe that in the modern game, if Pep was in charge of Man United and Ten Hag was in charge of Man City, Ten Hag would beat Pep. And I think if Potter was in charge of Liverpool and Klopp was in charge of Man United, Potter would beat Klopp. I don't think it's just about how good your manager is now. I think you've got to have the club behind you to succeed. Here's a brave one for you. Who will be more successful in the long term, Ten Hag at Man United or Eddie Howe at Newcastle? Now, really, it should be Ten Hag, but Newcastle's ambition to be good on the pitch may well outstrip Manchester United. And I think it's sad, but we have seen it through history. United have spent money well under Sir Alex. Blackburn Rovers did it and they won the league. I think nowadays it's absolutely imperative that even if you've got one of the best managers in the world, you've got to have the ambition off the pitch to spend the money as well. And this is always going to be the problem with Man United. And I know we get people who don't watch, who watch the show aren't Man United fans, and they'll be screaming, you've just spent 200 million. It's not about how much you spend, it's how you spend it as well. Like, we spend money badly. Sometimes it's better off being chucked on a bonfire. So, even if the Glazers go, there's £1 billion, it's still people like Murta and Woodward and Arnold who are spending it. Like, you've got to employ proper people, which is why the Edwin van der Sar story this morning was interesting. Right, let's get into some questions here. Alonso says, which striker would you buy in January? If we're to buy a striker in January, I think you're going to have to go for Gakpo. I think he's the best option out there because all the other strikers that you might want to go for won't be available in January. Would you bring Memphis to buyback? Hear me out. He's Dutch, plays up front and he's out of contract in the summer. I'd give him a second chance. Mason, he may well wear a Man United shirt again, but it's a very stopgap, cheap signing, and I don't think that's what Ten Hag needs. Fritz says, if the Glazers sell, would you consider buying stock in Man United, says Fritz. Well, I can't buy enough stock to buy the club, so... Potter will get more backing, but Ten Hag will get more time. That's why our manager will be more successful in the medium to long term. Good point, DJ. And you may not like Glazers, but since Woodward's gone, the club has been run properly, letting Ten Hag have full control of football aspects and been backed. I think you're talking absolute arse, United 95, and I think you're going to get absolutely torn apart for that. So United 95 is saying that since Woodward's gone, the Glazers have done a good job. I pity the responses in the chat, mate. I really do. I'm not even getting drawn in because you could be a troll. Absolute arse talk, that is. So it wasn't the Glazers' fault that they bought the club on debt, saddled it with debt, took hundreds of £1 millions of dividends, didn't rebuild the stadium. They've actually been misunderstood. It's all on Woodward. My God. Anoop says Ten Hag once never played a player again in a season who refused to sub in Ajax in 2018 for the rest of the season. Ronaldo is a case is different, however, not many games before the transfer window in the World Cup. Just pre-order the jumper, Mark. Love it, says Ryan Taylor. Yeah, I don't know how quick these will last because I don't know how many of you are going to pre-order them, but we are shipping to the US, mate. Yes, Corey. So if you want to get your orders in, get them in. It was from my end, so sorry, says Prosper. And it's an anonymous account from Joel Glazer. I'm not going to react, don't worry. Ten Hag seems like the most Pep-like signing United have done, but I can't see them backing him all the way and build a structure around him, says Sam. Look, going back to that just to summarise, if we have got anybody here who is like their jaw is dropping, saying, how can you say that the Glazers don't back the club when they've spent £200 million in the summer? The interesting thing is that we had a very bad summer. We chased De Jong all summer. We didn't get him. We went to Italy to get Rabiot. Didn't get him, thankfully. We tried to sign Arnautovic, which was a complete and utter PR disaster. We could have bought Anthony in June, and we bought him in August for 30 million quid more than we should have done. We spent 15 million pounds on Martinez. We, ended up buying Casemiro at the end for 60 million when we could have got De Jong for 65, who's 25. Casemiro, Anthony, Martinez are all really good signings, by the way, but the way that we conducted those deals was very amateur. So overall, I was speaking to someone, and I'm not going to say where, I was speaking to somebody and they basically said if United had conducted their transfer window competently, they'd have had another 40 to 50 million pounds in their pocket. And that person said to me, if the Glazers were switched on, they would have sacked people, because whether they would have spent that extra 40 or 50 million or not, that could have been more dividends for them or whatever. The bottom line is United spent somewhere between 30 and 50 million pounds more than they should have done by bad negotiations. It's well established that Ajax absolutely milked Man United last summer like a cow. They absolutely milked them. So we did spend 200 million pounds in the summer, but we should have spent about 160. So we overspent on a lot of players because we had clowns in the circus running it again. That 40 or 50 million pounds that we should have saved could have been spent on Gakpo. Whether the club would have done that or not, I don't know. But they did overspend. I love the jumper, Mark, says Zenova. Not managerial duties. I know you from the Twitch chats. He's part of the Goldbridge Out group. Zenova, Jim Bob and Pies. If you know, you know. I hope Man United eyes Casido from Brighton. He's a great Ecuadorian midfielder. I think he'd be very expensive, Vindy. Are the Glazers are donuts, as Ajit. Yeah, that was very funny last night, wasn't it? And Eric Ten Hag at Ajax knew how to scout young talents. For sure, he can do loads with young talent. Just be patient. He's a real gem we got here in the managers, is Alexander. I think that's going to be really important, Alexander, as well. I think it's a great point. I was reading some stuff over the last 24 hours, actually, about Man United scouting plans and Brazil and other areas of the world that we're looking to go into. This is music to my ears, and I think it's music to a lot of fans' ears. Look, I don't want to blow smoke up Man City's arse, but I think the horrible thing about... There's always one... Whenever I think about Man City, I always think about Sir Alex Ferguson saying the noisy neighbours aren't going to dislodge us. And they didn't really do it when Sir Alex was in charge. But 10 years later, the noisy neighbours have made us redundant. They've made us homeless. You know, we're not neighbours with Man City anymore. We're not even in the same postcode. They're on a different level to us. They're on a different postcode. They play football this season that's as good as anything we used to do, putting crosses into the box, etc. Their stadium and structure around the Etihad, if you've ever visited it, is fantastic. The infrastructure around that club is fantastic. The youth setup is fantastic. Everything about Man City that they built in, 15 years is top level. Scouting, recruitment, youth setup, it's amazing. Frimpong comes from the Man City youth setup, and there's countless other players out there that are from the Man City youth setup. So they've been doing it right, and they've been doing it right for years. And of course, Man City have got the money to spend on players, but they make a lot of money as well. They sell young players, they recruit young players. United's recruitment has generally been quite shit for years. I remember it started under Van Gaal, and we started signing a lot of young players. I remember us buying a lad from Coventry who was about 15, Chong. What was the name beginning with P? I think it was Spanish. I forget what his name was. Somebody in the chat will know. Basically, none of them's worked. What was his name? Traore as well. Alua Traore. I mean, there's loads. Over the years, I mean, it's a good point. Over the years, we've bought loads and loads of young players, 15, 16-year-olds, and hardly any of them have come through. It's not worked. So if Eric Ten Hag can implement a really good global scouting network to bring players into the club, it's great for two reasons. One, you hopefully start recruiting some of the best talent. And two, it won't be as expensive if having to spend, 50 million on Wan-Bissaka or 80 million on Harry Maguire or 100 million on Anthony. What are the lessons in the entire Ronaldo fiasco? For me, never buy a player over 32 and with massive baggages, says Omka. I don't think there's any lessons to be learnt, really. I genuinely don't think there's any lessons to be learnt, really, with Ronaldo. He was a club legend. We all wanted him back. He was our top scorer last year and our player of the year. I think up until that point, the return was only soured by the fact that the rest of the team was shite and we didn't get Champions League football. The only lesson I would say from the Ronaldo scenario was that when a player really wants to leave the club and the manager's open to it, you do that deal. You find a way of doing that deal. And we didn't. Mark, don't get too carried away with the Spurs win. Your biggest test is when you come to the Emirates, says Zane. Yeah, well, that's not till January. I think our biggest test tomorrow is tomorrow, Zane. I think that we've beaten Arsenal at home, we've beaten Spurs at home, and we've beaten Liverpool at home. That's 3 big wins at home against traditionally top 6 clubs, and we deserve to win all 3 of those games in different ways. Have we been away from home and beaten anybody yet? We went to Man City and we got absolutely battered. I think we've got to go and have a big away win. And Ten Hag will be telling his players that tonight. You've won 3 home games against top 6 sides. I want that first away win against the top 6 side now. And I think we'll get it. I think we will get it tomorrow. It was Pigmal, that was his name, yeah. Well done. Have you read Kevin Peterson's statement on Ronaldo, says Mahid? I mean, look, Kevin Peterson's got every right to say what he wants to say, but, you know, it's disrespectful to Eric Ten Hag. Basically, it's disrespectful to Eric Ten Hag. Aaron Wan-Bissaka could be an alternative at centre back, says Raphael. Jog on, and people forget Ronaldo came back after a family tragedy last season when he could have easily taken a month off and carried the team to Europa, says Iris. Iris makes a great point. I remember that. Ronaldo obviously lost one of his children in February, wasn't it? And he was back playing in a matter of days. But I refer you back to what I mentioned earlier. Roy Keane left Manchester United in a very bad way, with a major fallout with Sir Alex Ferguson that's not been resolved today. He still is a legend of the club. And Ronaldo will be as well. We just need to get this resolved very, very quickly and move on. Arsenal is the best team in the country, says Zane. They never mind Liverpool, London. Once Pep retires, Arteta will be the best manager in the world. Zane, when Pep retires, Man City will recruit Arteta. But I tell you what, here's a little. It is a Friday night show, so let's just throw this in there. I was thinking this earlier. Imagine if Arsenal had got Martinez and Saliba as a centre-back pair. Whew, even I, as a United fan, can go, that'd be I mean, look at Martinez and Varane. It's elite. It's an elite centre-back partnership. Imagine Saliba and Martinez. They would have fit together like Varane, because Saliba's very similar to Varane. Brilliant in the air, quick, good on the ball, a leader. Imagine Saliba and Martinez. And because Arsenal wanted Martinez. That would have been very interesting. Apparently, Arsenal fans are melting down because Gabriel's been given a new contract. I mean, Gabriel's got a mistake in him, but I don't think he's terrible. I don't know. Who do Arsenal think they're going to sign then if they're not going to have Gabriel anyway? But yeah, imagine that. Saliba and Martinez would be quite a pair, wouldn't they? Keep your questions coming in, by the way. And Zane was Arteta out a few months ago. You're absolutely right. He's in the Piers Morgan gang. Mark, do you think if we beat Chelsea tomorrow, our chances of top 4 are back on the cards, says Lion? I think our chances of top 4 are there at the moment. I think we're very much in a race for top 4. If you look at our fixtures after the Chelsea game, even if we lost to Chelsea tomorrow, which I don't think we will, we've got 6 Premier League games in a row which we could win. I think we've got Villa, West Ham, Fulham, Forest, Bournemouth, Wolves. That's our next 6 Premier League games. So we've got a real opportunity to go and get a good accumulation of points. I still don't think we're going to get top 4. I really don't. And I think that's a good position to be in because it takes the pressure off the team. I think top 4 this year might be a bit hard for us because I think Arsenal and Man City have got it locked down already. And then, I mean, look, people probably don't think Spurs are going to get top 4 anymore, but I'll tell you for free, they are very good at grinding out wins. Chelsea are a threat and Liverpool are a threat. So we're in the race for top 4, but I still agree with what I said before. And I know that's a weird sign, but I don't always agree with myself. I don't know whether you're like that. Sometimes I don't agree with myself, which is a weird thing to say. But I do agree with what I've been saying for the last few weeks, I don't think we've got the squad depth to get top four. You can already see the problems up front. And I don't think Ronaldo's suspension necessarily is the problem here. The problem here is Martial's injury record is really poor. Martial's basically injured. He's not even a player that you go, oh, when he's back, we can afford another player to get injured. He's always injured. So my concern is when we pick up another couple of injuries to another couple of forwards. You know, what if, I'm not going to name their names, but if another forward gets injured, we're really weak up front. Ollie, Carrick, Ralph and now Erik ten Hag and all bench Ronaldo and looks like they all had some strife. Do you think Ronaldo's role was never central to Man United's plans, says Neil? Some people seem to think that Ronaldo was bought as a shirt seller, but Pep Guardiola really wanted him, so I don't get that. Sunderland manager praised Amad Diallo a few days ago, really hoping the loan ends up working for him. Quote can be found on the Manchester Evening News if interested, says Jason. That's good news, Jason. That is really good news. I would love Amad to start working out. I know Mabry's doing reasonably well at Birmingham as well, both in the Championship, of course. It's the right place for them to be. James Rook is a legend of the chat. He's gifted 5 United Stand memberships. Give a shout out to James. Really appreciate that. Do Arsenal's squad have depth, says Emric. Not really. No, not really. No, I think if Arsenal were to lose Saka or Jesus for any period of time, I think they would struggle as well. But maybe Arsenal are going to spend in the summer. Maybe they are. I mean, the interesting thing for United is that you can talk about Arsenal not having the depth, but Arsenal are 8 points ahead of us. We've played the same amount of games and they're 8 points ahead of us. So Arsenal are in a position where they've got a bit of a buffer. I mean, Arsenal are trying to win the league at the moment. Let's be honest, they're in a league title race. They're 4 points clear of Man City. I don't think they will win the league, but even if they don't win the league, I think they're going to have a nice buffer on everybody else behind them. So I think you know Arsenal at the moment, and I believe they do need to strengthen in the summer, definitely. Wilfred says, why would Frimpong not be the next Wan-Bissaka? Because you haven't watched him, for Wilfred. You can't just say a right back is going to be the next Wan-Bissaka without actually comparing the two. They're very different right backs. I mean, Wan-Bissaka they're just very different. Very, very different. I mean, Frimpong is almost like a winger at times, the way he carries the ball and dribbles the ball. That's not what Wan-Bissaka is. Wan-Bissaka is way more defensive. Adnan, welcome to the members club. Harry Maguire in, says Ihab. Well, Maguire, I mean, look, Wan-Bissaka looks like he's back. Maguire's going to be back. Donny, I presume, is going to be back. So they're all good players to have back, just to you know, freshen up the squad a little bit. Bit of rotation in the Europa League would be nice. I mean, you know what, we've got some really interesting games coming up. Sheriff at home next Thursday won't necessarily be easy considering how we struggled against Ammonia. And then the following week, it's that massive game in Sociedad, which is basically going to be a playoff to see if we can beat them there and not have to do a qualifying round in February. So big couple of games coming up in the Europa League, but that's where you would want to be getting Maguire involved, really, because otherwise I just don't see where he's going to start. I mean, Varane, you're also in that area now where people say, well, Varane could pick up an injury. But if Varane picks up an injury now, he's jeopardising the World Cup. And nobody can choose when they get injured. But I do think it's going to be very interesting how managers use their players between now and the World Cup. Because I heard Pep Guardiola on about this. And he was asked about whether he will rest and rotate players with the World Cup in mind. And he said, look, the international teams get our players in the middle of a season and they don't rest them. So why would I be resting my players for a World Cup? So I don't think many clubs are going to think like that. Welcome to the Members Club, Raphael. Welcome to Adnan as well. Mark, I might run for the Conservative leadership, ban the Super League in England and make sure people can't buy clubs on debt like the Glazers and build more nuclear plants to lower the energy bills. Zane, you sound like somebody people could vote for. Zane is legend of the chat, says Viniak. And as if Leverkusen will sell, says Rackshit. And G-Man says, Maguire and Lindelof need replacing. I worry for us if Varane or Martinez miss games. Look, I get what you're saying, but you need rotation. I mentioned about half an hour ago that Wan-Bissaka being back is a good thing because it means Dalot can have a rest. When Dalot comes out the team and Wan-Bissaka comes in, there's a big difference. and it could lead to a drop-off. But it's the same. Varane and Martinez need a bit of rotation. If you play Maguire and Lindelof against Spurs the other night, that's a different result. I'm sorry. It's a different result. Maguire and Lindelof are going to get done by Kane and Son. And Varane pocketed Kane and Son with Martinez. So there will be a drop-off, of course. I said it this morning. I'm glad that Maguire's back fit, but there's absolutely no way. And you know what? Ten Hag can do no wrong at the moment. He is a really exciting manager. But if Ten Hag tried to tell us that now Maguire's back fit, Varane's got to go to the bench, I would be very, very concerned. There is I've been so impressed with our back five recently. I think they've done really, really well. But the most consistent players in our back five for the last 2 months have been Varane and Martinez. They've been absolutely fantastic. They are the core of that defence, and they are the platform for the rest of the team. I think Varane and Martinez have been superb for 2 months. And I'll say it again, Lindelof and Maguire at their very best are nowhere near what Varane and Martinez are. There's no competition there. Like they are not going to dislodge those players unless something weird happens where Ten Hag decides he thinks that Lindelof or Maguire have to start. Their only chances of starting games for Man United is if Varane or Martinez are suspended or injured. And that's not disrespectful. I think sometimes, I look at Van der Beek and I think if, and it's a huge if, and it probably won't happen, but I think if Van der Beek could find his form from Ajax, he might genuinely be able to challenge Eriksen or Bruno for a starting place. I do think that. It's very unlikely, but I do think that. But I just really don't think Lindelof and Maguire could ever challenge Martinez and Varane because I just think they're different level centre-backs to them. And it's like saying Raheem Sterling at his very best will never be as good as Neymar. He never will. It doesn't matter. And that's just about how good... That's just levels. That's not disrespectful. Another example. Mason Mount at his very best can never be as good as Kevin De Bruyne. Doesn't mean Mason Mount's a bad player, but there are levels to this game, and Varane and Martinez are on a different level to Lindelof and Maguire, individually and collectively. So we need Lindelof and Maguire. They're very important players, but they're not first-team players anymore, unless we get injuries or suspension. Because even if Martinez got a red card and missed 3 games, and Lindelof plays, and plays well, Martinez is going to come back into that team because he's better. And even if Varane gets injured for a month and Maguire comes in and plays well, Maguire should be coming back out of that team very quickly when Varane's fit because they are the best. They are our best choice centre-backs. That's just the way it is. But they're very important players for us this season. There's no doubt about that. Cameron says, Maguire and Lindelof are solid squad players. They've had plenty of chances to form a partnership and cement their position in the team. Yeah, I agree. The interesting thing will be in the summer if they're happy to stay being squad players or if they're getting enough first team football. James says Ethan Laird and Alvaro Fernandez have had strong starts to the season in the Championship. They could be good options for next season. Mate, I don't think there's anything better than that. I really don't. I think that Laird and Fernandez becoming first team regulars for Man United costs us nothing. And why would you turn your back on that? The question is Ethan Laird as good as a Frimpong or a Delot? Does he have the potential to be that good? If he does, great. If he doesn't, then you still need to buy a right back. Ron says, how's it going? I graduated my Navy boot camp last week and now I'm in a sailor. Had to access to the outside world but feels good about this new United team. The match against Spurs was amazing. Big shout out to you, Ron. Well done. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, look, we've got a lot of excitement going into the game tomorrow. Congratulations to Ron. Loads of people are saying it in the chat. Lovely stuff. Yeah, look, the Spurs game on Wednesday night was probably the best performance we've played under Ten Hag. It's probably the best performance we've played at Old Trafford in quite a while. And there's a massive buzz around the team for the Chelsea game tomorrow. I'm confident. I think we're going to beat Chelsea tomorrow. I really do think we're going to beat them. I don't think we'll concede, and I think we'll beat them. And I'm very excited about it as well because I've got a lot of positive things to say about Graham Potter as well. I can't wait for the game tomorrow. But I think we're going to catch Chelsea at the right time. I really do. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a cracker. An absolute cracker. Loads of people saying congratulations to Ron, which is great to see. 5:30 kick-off tomorrow. Got the chart show for you in the morning, by the way. That's great. Lovely stuff. Good, good. Dan says that Frimpong defending is shocking. They play him on the wing more time now. Yeah, well, I've already said that, Dan. I think that the two areas that may need some work from Frimpong are defence and attack. I think with Frimpong, it depends what he's available for. Yeah. Fenix says the show is flying by. I can't believe how quick it's flown by because I actually started off quite soon. Love your jumper, says Crazy Games. They're already going, to be fair. If you want to get one of these ordered for Christmas, it's got the number 20 on the back. How did I do it last time? No, not like that. There you go. Number 20 on the back. 20 trophies of league titles on there. You've got the managers on there. A little bit of saying there. It's a knitted jumper. Fantastic design. You're going to stand out this Christmas. Why have we dropped it today? Because pre-orders for October the 31st, when they start getting shipped out, we've only got so many of them because we've had to pre-order them ourselves. They are knitted. They are amazing. I'm really proud of them. We do Christmas jumpers every year, but this is the first time. They're normally printed. This is knitted. This is a proper knitted Christmas jumper. So if you want to get one of these, we do ship them worldwide. Get your orders in through the link in the video description or through the live chat. Once they're gone, they're gone. So I can't promise them to everybody, but if you want to get hold of one, then get your orders in now, and we will be shipping them out at the end of the month. Teng says Christmas jumper in October. I think I've just explained why, mate, because if we release them in December, you won't be getting them in time. Adnan's just gifted a tier 1 sub. They're really nice. They are really great. I'll be wearing mine a lot to lots of Christmas parties. Make some Real Madrid ones. Yeah. Are you on the Talk Sport show tomorrow after the game, Mark Glenn? Yes, I am. So tomorrow the game kicks off at 5:30. Match reaction at about 7:30, and then I'm on Talk Sport at 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock, taking your calls. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, hopefully we'll be celebrating a big win. Then I can go on national radio and basically just wind everybody up. If we lose, it'll be a horrible one. The last time I did United Talk Sport after a United game was Brentford. So don't let me down. In fact, I think wasn't that the last 5:30 game we played, Brentford, on a Saturday. We can't have played on Saturday very often this season. I think the last time we played at 5:30 was London, Brentford, and we got beat, didn't we? So, yeah, maybe that was it. How are the size charts for this jumper, says Arjun? Well, I'm a medium, and this is a medium. So, if you're a large will fit you. Where do I buy it, Mark, says Khan? Links in the video description. It's also pinned in the live chat, or just go to United Stand Shopify on Google. Gakpo or De Jong in January? Oh, I like it. Axel. Gakpo or De Jong in January? Gakpo for me. Gakpo for me. Get him another midfielder in the summer. Yeah. Who do you think will be the starting lineup tomorrow, Rashan? Have you changed your mind from the preview? I'm really excited by the starting lineup tomorrow. I mean, the question is, do you go with the team that beats Tottenham or do you bring Eriksen in? And I don't know. I mean, let's do a poll on that. Fred or Eriksen? No, we did it last night, didn't we? Most of you went with Eriksen, so let's not do a poll on that. Brentford wasn't 12:30, it was 5:30. Definitely 5:30 against Brentford, I remember it. Do you think we could still get Timber? I do. Another Dutch player. I don't know what to do tomorrow. Part of me thinks you've got to stick with the winning team and try and press Fred with Fred. But then Eriksen's such a good player. If he doesn't pick Eriksen and Fred plays shit. I mean, the thing about Fred is it's like throwing a coin in the air, isn't it? Is it going to be heads or tails? Is it going to be heads, he plays well, or is it going to be tails, he shits all over the pitch? I don't know with Fred. It's hard to tell. Whereas Eriksen's more consistent. But I don't know. I don't know what I'd do tomorrow. I think Eriksen, and then I think, wow, no, it's got to be Fred. This is why Ten Hag's the manager. He is the manager. Let him choose. I'm a 3XL guy. I know I need a diet, says Arjun. Don't put yourself down, mate. Don't put yourself down. Brentford was a midday kickoff. Why does it feel like Brentford was a half past 5? I don't know. Pedram says, my father passed away yesterday due to brain cancer after a month in a coma. Your content helped me smile during the last month. Thank you, says Pedram. Rest in peace to your dad, mates. Look, life's harsh and horrible at times, isn't it? So, yeah, thoughts with you and your family and friends. Horrible to hear that. And I'm glad that your father's now at peace, as I'm sure you are, but it's a horrible thing. And it won't, you've got to grieve, mate. There's not a lot that anybody can say. People come out with nonsense like things will get better. And it's true, they will get better. But no one wants to hear that the day after their dad's died. So, you've got to go through the process. You've got to grieve. And as I say, I was saying this to Seb the other day because he was talking about a cat that died. And I said, they don't really die. They don't really die. They're not here anymore, but they're somewhere else. They're in here. And, I've lost people in my life and they live on years afterwards because I know them. I know their personality. I know what their thoughts were. I know how they acted, and they just live on in your heart. So, but you've got to adjust to that. And it hurts. It hurts because your heart gets heavier as that's where they go to live. So, yeah, look, mate, it's horrible news and it's very sad. And we all have to go through it, unfortunately, grief. But it hurts so much because you love them so much. So, yeah, all my thoughts with you, mate. As long as United win, I trust Ten Hag on who he picks. There's a bit of pressure on Ten Hag tomorrow. There is a bit of pressure on Ten Hag tomorrow because you talk about the team news there. Imagine he picks Fred and Fred has a bad game and we lose 2-0 and people say you should have picked Eriksen. Imagine if we lose tomorrow and he should have picked Ronaldo. There is pressure. There's always pressure at Manchester United. Some of that pressure is complete nonsense. We might lose tomorrow because we have a great game and Chelsea are better than us. We're going into a game tomorrow at the Bridge where we've not traditionally done that well. Maybe Chelsea are ahead of us at the moment. Maybe we're ahead of Chelsea. I think we're ahead of Chelsea. We'll have to wait and see. But there's always pressure in a Man United shirt. Of course there is. There's always that. Okay, I think we'll call it a day there. It's 9 o'clock. It's absolutely flown by. I always love the Friday show. It always feels a little bit different, doesn't it? So thanks everyone for tuning in. This has been a pleasure to wear, by the way. I'll remind everybody, this is the United Stand Christmas jumper. It's the best one we've ever done. It's knitted. It's very much the 20 times theme. You get a number 20 on your back. There's 20 trophies there, league titles, even the old style Division 1 title there to make up the 20. It says 20 times Man United on the arms and everything like that. We do ship worldwide. They are available for pre-order now. So get your orders in. And once we've completed the amount of orders that we've got for the jumpers, that's it. It won't be available anymore. So we do ship worldwide. Get your orders in. They'll be shipping from the end of the month. Links in the description, it's in the live chat, or you can just type in United Stand Shopify. These are fantastic. You're going to look brilliant at your family do's, your Christmas parties, or even if you're just sad. I don't know where I was going with that. Even if you're going to have a Christmas party on your own, that doesn't make you sad. I spent Christmas Day on my own once. I fell out with my family, and they said, we're going to your grand's without you in the car. I said, you won't. And they did. I ended up sat on my own for Christmas Day. I was 28. But, yeah. Thanks, everyone, for watching. On that, yeah. Get your jumpers. Order them. Get them done if you want one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll take care. Take care. Stay safe. Chart show's out tomorrow. And it's match day tomorrow as well. I can't wait. Thanks for watching. Take care. Ronaldo stand. Somebody said it. Has anyone seen the clip from 44 Tunes? It's on my Instagram story. Check it out. Very funny. 44 Tunes came out with an absolute classic. I don't know whether they watched the show. It has been called the Ronaldo stand in the past. It's a quite funny take on the whole Ronaldo thing, which I think we probably need. Take care, everyone. Speak to you in a bit.